I am finally free from the shackles of assignment season. I just submitted my final assignment for my first year of uni, so I'm now a free woman, but not entirely just yet. There is a lot of things that I want to do and achieve this summer. This summer being around 3 months, that's a lot of time off. But how I see it, now that I have so much more free time where I don't really have to focus on university anymore, I finally have the freedom and flexibility to pursue a lot of personal and most of all creative projects that I'll be documenting on this YouTube channel. In order to do all the creative project ideas that I have, I need to digitally declutter. As someone who is always on a device, I've definitely neglected my digital space, and it can be overwhelming sometimes just taking a look at it every single day, but just never could do anything about it because I'm so caught up with university. But now all of that is over, I now have the time to do that, and I'm going to show you guys how I'm digitally decluttering. So let's get to it. So around the ages 13 to 14, my YouTube homepage didn't look like an average 14-year-old's homepage. A lot of my videos were full of productivity, how to get your life together in your 20s, finances, and all that kind of stuff. So essentially the type of YouTubers I'd watch would be Ali Abdul, Karma Medic, Thomas Frank. As you can see, it's very productivity based. So what all of these YouTubers had in common was that they used Notion. Now on Notion, you can get a lot of free templates. So a lot of creators will do their Notion video tours, and some will link down their templates. Some you can get for free, and you just duplicate that onto your own Notion page, or you can get paid versions of Notion templates. Essentially, most people will sell like an entire Notion hub. You've got sites like Etsy, Gumroad, and these other places that are also selling full on Notion hubs. I have watched plenty of Notion tours. I watch Notion tours that are dedicated to a specific type of person. So if you're a uni student, to if you're doing a PhD, I'm not even doing that at the moment, to people who are full-time content creators, and I just loved watching them and just picking some things that I just find of inspiration and including into my own Notion hub, because I could never find like the perfect Notion template for my Notion hub. Like the ones that I mentioned, how you can just buy it and just sort it out yourself. I don't think I could ever do that. I need to fully customize my Notion hub. And because of this, I've been going back and forth with my iPad trying to sketch out the individual Notion pages that I would like, and being very specific on where things are going to go on the page, because I want things to be there for efficiency purposes and just to make my life easier. Or at least I can say I just don't find a lot of these paid aesthetic Notion pages very functional. Hence why on my sketches on my iPad, I tend to ask myself questions like, which pages currently do I reach out for the most, and start creating my sketches from there. So as someone who is a writer, I do tend to find myself over digitalizing things, and what I mean by this is that I actually have a digital Notion library hub where I've kept all the books that I've read over the years on there. Now with this hub that I have, I actually have a database where you can specifically select quotes from whatever number chapter you're after, and it's just very organized, but I think a bit too organized, as when I realistically look at that, I just don't think I would really look at that database much. It's not like I need the book for some kind of essay, and I just felt like it was doing a bit too much. And to be honest, I tend to find that a lot with some other people's Notion pages. Again, I understand it's for them, but I just find a lot of things being too specific. Like I remember I used to have this tracker where I would track what I did every single day, and this was, for me at the time, it was meant to be a tool for motivation or like discipline or whatever. It just became a bit too much for me, and essentially these habits or whatever I was trying to build, I just naturally ended up gaining these habits without having to go through a daily checklist of ticking off these habits that I wanted to complete. I just think there's a lot of things that don't need to be digitalized. and be put on a Notion page in order for you to achieve that task, if that makes sense. I feel like a lot of these things are very mental and things that you can just do by yourself without having to rely on something digital in order to fulfill that task. I am more of a write everything by hand type of person. I write a lot. So when I mean a lot, I pretty much write every now and then. But when I do have that one writing session in the day that I haven't had in a week, it's a lot of writing. Ever so slightly have I toyed with the idea of getting my notebooks and then scanning them in so I can upload it digitally. This would probably take a long time. As I've mentioned, I write a lot. But literally now thinking about it as I speak, this is probably something I would do for a project that I'm currently working on. Like, I have a lot of book reviews. Well, for me, I like to write chapter reviews as soon as I've read a chapter. It helps me memorize the plot of the book more, actually, and it's just great writing exercise. During my first year of uni, what I found to be the perfect evening routine was that I would go in the shower and I would use my favourite body products or new products I'm just experimenting with. Then I will cozy up in really cute pajamas and just scroll on Pinterest for a few minutes. Mainly I'll be scrolling, looking at new things that I probably want to add to my next purchase list, or I'm just building my dream lifestyle. I'm pretty sure us girlies, we love a Pinterest scroll, but I actually found a very efficient system and way on how you can actually use Pinterest productively. So you no longer have to see your Pinterest doom scrolling as, I don't know, something guilty, because I'm pretty sure all of us would want to stop doom scrolling as it's very addictive. I'm going to have a completely dedicated video to that. So I'm actually currently in a phase where I am decorating my dorm room for second year, so in September. I know that's a long way, but I'm just so excited. As someone who hasn't actually decorated their own living space, even the bedroom I'm in now, I've never decorated it. But since going to uni and decorating my own space, I just can't stop planning and decorating for things. So getting photos from Pinterest and just adding it into the places where I see fit for my new dorm room, and just being able to envision it so I know exactly the items that I want to buy instead of having just an idea of things that I want to get. I like to be very specific, because something that I've realized is that if you're more specific about things that you want to do instead of having a broad generalization or idea, you actually tend to execute it more quickly instead of just productively procrastinating. And when I say productively procrastinating, it's like you plan so much to do something and you spend so much time planning that you never end up executing the task. I used to be like that, but I'm not like that anymore. So in terms of this video being about decluttering and organizing, the thing is, when I would scroll on Pinterest, I would honestly just save things randomly, either to a board that's the first on the suggestions list, or I tend to save it a lot to my profile and tell myself I'll organize it later, but I actually never end up doing that. So that's essentially pretty much what I have to do, but I've been doing this for months, or for a year or so now. Also, my account is really old. I've had things archived in boards that I literally never look at. I just feel like I still want to save it because it's just a small aspect of the inspirations that I had back when I was younger, so I just like to keep that somewhere hidden on Pinterest. So since we're talking about Pinterest, I couldn't help but speak about some pins that I've been loving recently. So the first type of pins that I want to talk about is what I call natural photos. Now, what I mean by this is that these photos, they're not Pinterest aesthetic, or they're not Pinterest worthy or Pinterest coded. They are photos that you can recreate. It's very easy, and it's something that you could find in your camera roll of just taking photos of your daily life very naturally. On the contrary, this is what I would call Pinterest aesthetic or Pinterest worthy types of photos. These types of photos are what people would put on a vision board. Not that I have a vendetta against them. I love these types of photos, but you got to understand these types of photos, content creators would have probably taken them. And as you know, as a content creator, you will meticulously plan where things are placed in a photo, especially like those flat lay photos, or if you see photos of like a coffee shop and like everything is just very aesthetically placed down in order to take a photo. I love these photos. I eat it up all the time. But what I tend to find is whenever you're creating a vision board and you have these types of photos on, it's great for the aesthetic, but some of these photos can not be very attainable. So an example I would like to give is, let's say you really like the idea of a pink Pilates princess kind of vibe. And these are the type of photos that would pop up. And these are great. However, if you're literally someone who doesn't own anything pink in their wardrobe or doesn't own any gym wear at all, then you would have to go out your way to buy a bunch of these things. So you would have to buy the cute pink hair accessories, you have to buy the gym fit, all of these types of things in order to achieve that aesthetic. Because essentially it's on your vision board, it's not on your vision board for no reason. Yes, maybe because it looks pretty, but the whole goal of a vision board is to essentially become like the photos, if that makes sense. This is just a distinction I made. It probably might not be that deep, but this is just something that I found. And also, whenever you're trying to romanticize your life, and you tend to use Pinterest aesthetic photos in your vision board, again, a lot of these Pinterest aesthetic photos are unattainable because they would have things that you literally do not have. So when you're trying to, I don't know, match up your life to that, it can be a bit disheartening, I guess. So that's why natural photos are just my favorite things. In a way, it can kind of help you romanticize your life because these are normal photos that I found on Pinterest and they don't necessarily fit within the Pinterest aesthetic or worthy category. That was a very long-winded explanation, but I hope all of that made sense. This probably has to be my most overly procrastinated task that I always need to do, but I never do it. And this is scrubbing my hard drives. So essentially just organizing everything that's in my hard drives. It's such a mess. I have things dating back from 2-3 years ago. Everything is just such a mess. And what's even more difficult about this isn't something where you can, but you can't just look at a YouTube video to see how someone organizes their stuff, because you just have to see what's better suited for you. So it's really thinking about how or what is the best way in order for me to organize and store my footage. And now this is for people if you don't even need to be a content creator to do like the following I'm about to say. Something that you should definitely go ahead and check out now if you can is figuring out where is the most storage within your devices. So whether that's on your phone storage like the iCloud, I'm talking about like digital cloud storages, Google, Dropbox, and then physical storage like having a hard drive or a USB stick. Me personally, I edit videos, and maybe if I organize it the way that someone else has, I'm talking about someone who literally makes, let's say, professional films. That's a whole different video editing organization compared to someone like me just making YouTube videos. The hardest part is figuring out whichever type of media that you're focusing on, whether it's a photo, video, or a document, which type of storage will that go into? Will this go into your hard drive, your USB stick, or your cloud storage, or just sit on the camera roll of your phone? Now, just a quick hack in order to help you decide which category that goes into is think about how urgent or how immediate do you need that photo, video, or document, because doing this is just going to help you organize all of your stuff so much more easier. Like, just a quick example, if I know there's a friend's birthday next week and I have a photo of them dating back 1 year ago that is still in my camera roll, I'm still going to keep it there. I'm not going to send it off to a cloud storage just to re-download it later and put it on my camera roll. But essentially when that week passes, then of course I'm going to send it off somewhere like a cloud storage, like Google Photos, let's say, because it's something that I just don't need currently, but it's something I would like to keep. So a lot of media that's been holding my phone hostage, because my phone, it's where I record, I make videos, I do everything on my phone, pretty much. Screenshots are holding me hostage so much, because what I tend to find, the things that I screenshot are things that I could just easily write on a piece of paper, just something to remind me, or I can actually put it into my sticky notes Chrome extension where I write so much. It's basically replaced my physical sticky notes now. Having that on my laptop has been helpful, but most of the time a lot of these screenshots are just information of things that I just would like to know or need to know. So that takes up a lot of my storage. For the purpose of this video, this might seem like it literally took seconds to do, but it did take me a while to do. I feel like I can now go ahead and do all these ideas that have just been bursting in my head to do. But I hope you feel cleansed, decluttered, or at least if you haven't done this already, I recommend you do this before even thinking of your summer, because essentially these are things that maybe you've always wanted to do, but you just never could find the time to do it. I am just so excited for just a transformative summer, guys. Like, I know every year we've been saying this summer will be it, this summer will be it, but for me and truly, I feel like this summer will be it. The last time I had a it summer was when I actually did something with my life and started a YouTube channel, which I did in 2020 when COVID hit. I mean, I listened to all the YouTube gurus at the time that were teaching me how to grow, put myself in a very niche box that's very hard to come out from. This is kind of a very new rebirth of me creating content again on YouTube. So subscribe to stay tuned for this new journey of what a uni student gets up to on summer break that doesn't require doing the most basic or Pinterest summer things that everyone else in the world is doing. So I guess stay tuned and subscribe for that kind of content, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.
Somewhere in the great unknown, when I return from the afterglow, will you carry me like I am whole again?